Today we're exploring the text entitled Artworks by Kevin Sylvester and Laura Carlin with some grade 6 students. Artworks is slightly different from the other grade 6 texts in that it is a series of interviews with Canadian artists, each of whom have overcome challenges to be successful in their own way. The focus is on inspiration and positive role models and instilling confidence and perseverance through creative expression. The literary focus is on interviewing and research techniques. In the session you're about to view, the students have read the text, so they're ready to engage in one of the activities. We thought it would be interesting to highlight activity number 4, Picture This, under the section on confidence and perseverance. This time we're going to talk about a second text. And remember yesterday we had the opportunity to take a look at this text called Artworks by Kevin Sylvester and Laura Carlin. And this is an interesting text. Does anybody want to tell us basically what the text is about? What happens in this text? Yes?
I think it is about a bunch of different artists that they show all the different artists' work, and they express how the artists are feeling and stuff.
Very good. A good summary of it. That's great. And one of the things that I asked you to do yesterday was I broke you into groups and asked you to each take one of the artists that was profiled and interviewed and to give us a little summary of what it was all about. And maybe tell us a bit about any challenges that they may have had as they're becoming the artists that they are. So who looked at Marty Chan? Which group was that? All right. Can I have what you learned about Marty Chan?
In the interview, they asked, did he always want to be a writer? And as a kid, he didn't really want to write, but he loved telling stories and had a huge imagination for things like that. So when he got older, he started writing different stories to tell his friends and family. One of the challenges that he faced in school was actually he was one of the only Chinese families in his town. So when he went to school, all those kids would pick on him and make jokes about him and laugh. So Marty thought to himself, if he can change those kids saying mean things to laughing at the person that's making fun of him, he can start making jokes for people to focus on what he says more than what he looks like. So that's how he faced bullying in his school.
What are the qualities that you think all of these people needed in order to be successful? What's something that they would need?
They all had a dream.
They all had a dream. Very good. What else?
They all need self-confidence.
Self-confidence. Thank you. That's what you were going to say?
I was going to say courage.
Good.
They all were passionate about what they wanted to do.
Very good. Okay, thank you so much. And speaking of self-confidence, we're actually going to do an activity now. So we're going to be giving you some chart paper and some markers. And here's the challenge for you. The alien has come back. And now the alien says, okay, I understand what mental health is, but I really don't understand this whole term called self-confidence. So what I would like you to do is in your groups, I would like you to show the alien what some of you are going to do what a self-confident person would look like, feel like, act like, and be like, and some of you are going to do what a person who lacks in self-confidence might look like, feel like, act like, and be like. It's not an art contest, so you can actually draw a person if you want to, you can draw an alien, you can draw whatever you want, but in the background you can also use things that are going to help the alien and the rest of us understand what a self-confident person would possess and what a person who doesn't have the self-confidence might look like and feel like and act like and be like.
I'm writing an explanation, like why.
Okay.
Find out why they say that about me.
Soccer.
Depressed, sad,
Disappointed?
nervous.
Bigger eyes.
If you have confidence, then you're not really afraid to take on a challenge, right? Like, let's say that there's like a sport or something that, like a team that you want to make. If you have confidence, then you're going to try it and you're going to put your 100% effort into it.
So tell us about it. What have you written?
You don't care what other people think about you. You're very excited for the day, joyful. You're amused at what you do, and you're very expressive, and you're very curious on learning other like for dance, like if you're in dance, you're very curious to learn new moves, and at the end of the day you're proud of what you did.
Some like characteristics that you could see when you know that someone is confident is they're kind of like not slouching over, they're like really tying, or like they have good posture, they have a very expressive voice, they have like wide eyes, they're not looking like they're half asleep, they have a really nice, like they're smiling, you can understand how they feel, and that's how you know when someone is confident.
One of the things that I really liked about what you were saying was you made a connection to body language, which is something that I hadn't really thought of. You know, you said a self-confident person stands straight, doesn't slouch, gives eye contact, looks more relaxed, and those are all really important things for us to remember. When you looked at the people in the artworks text, do you feel that they always had self-confidence?
No, because like when we did famous people players, they talked about how there's a lot of difficulties with other people when they work. So no, they're always like thinking about something that could go wrong. So.
Exactly, yes. Sometimes we can't really see self-confidence on the outside, can we? I mean, you talked about body language, but do you think that you can always look at somebody and tell if they have self-confidence? No, so sometimes it's a matter of talking to them, finding out a little bit more about them, learning how to use those emotion words, opening up the discussions to talk about stresses and things that might be bothering them, and then setting those goals and trying again. There are so many more discussions we could have around this activity. We could talk about stereotypes that may have been reflected in their drawings. We could talk about not trying something simply because we don't think we can do it. We could have explored the humor that author Marty Chan uses to deal with challenges. And once again, you know your students best, and you will have your own ideas and your own unique way to extend this learning experience. One of the greatest barriers to changing attitudes towards mental health is the stigma that's been attached to people affected with mental illness. By talking about it and sharing success stories like those in artworks, students learn to break down those stereotypes and change the way they approach the whole issue of positive mental health. And that's what Well Aware is all about.
I think the biggest thing was that they walked away feeling like, oh, I understood that. It was something I could relate to, and now I can apply it to future situations where it was okay to share my feelings. It's okay to feel the way I was feeling, and now I know how somebody else might have felt in that situation, so I can, it's okay to feel that way.